Wait, where's my other page of notes? Yeah. So basically, I think for me, it's been generating a lot more questions than it has answers, but the right kind of questions to ask about my projects. And yeah, so, and a lot to do with the mindset and understanding and uncovering the mindset of how to think about it. Like yesterday, we had a very nice presentation about artificial intelligence, but for me, it's more about to think about if that's appropriate for what I'm doing, or like, can I use it? Can I benefit from it? I probably can. I don't know how, but it's something more to explore. I could have done with this over like more time. If this was like once a month thing, that would be a better pace for my slow brain to keep up.
Maybe I started with something like a subscription. But also when you said you start, what that taught you is, or what the first 2 days inspired you is by finding new questions. And that's actually what AI is really good at, giving very good answers or very appropriate answers to a certain level of accuracy that you define the questions. So AI basically, the only thing you need to know for AI is you have questions and you have a data set and you define an accuracy for the answer, and the terminal creates the answers for you to that level of accuracy if you have the right data. If not, you probably need some learning data, or that there's this phase where you learn the algorithm and then there's the phase where the algorithm drops out answers. But when your achievement is new questions, you basically it sounds like it perfectly aligns with artificial intelligence, because they deliver answers, but they don't ask questions.
Mm. The weirdest thing for me was, in some of my notes, I've been asking myself questions and writing down interesting things, and I can't honestly remember if we actually talked about them in the video chats. It's just, one idea leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. And
maybe we start a depository of questions where everyone can push in their questions, and then we have a huge data set of questions. Then Yes?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dieter.
Well, hi, Martin. I'm Dieter. Nice to have another fellow Austrian on board. I think just to give Martin a quick idea of the journey of what we've done so far is, thanks to Nicky, he kicked us into the Silicon Valley mindset on Monday in the first session. I think that was really extraordinary. And Nicky, if you had this 21 points on Silicon Valley mindset, was what it was called. I met Nicky the first time here, and he's so quick. He's bam, 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 like a machine gun. So I haven't found that chart or these charts. Maybe we can somehow, because 3 or 4 points are missing. But he took us into, within, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes, Nicky took us into Silicon Valley. And when he stopped talking, I put up my hand and I was like, where am I? It's not my office. Am I somewhere in the Bay Area or whatever? That was the start. The second stop was Tobias. I don't remember his family name, but he took us into business modeling, which I have to say is, I have this book somewhere in my shelf in the office about business modeling. I looked into it. I ordered it. I looked into it, but it never came alive. And Tobias took it alive for us. The business model with the customer, the core costs, the technical things, and all these. I think there's 8 stages or so, and he really brought it alive with on the one with Nespresso, showing us what the business model of Nespresso is. And on the other hand, we had a short task and work on it, what Uber business model looks like. So this was really, really amazing. And yesterday Adam already.
I think the book is called Business Model Generation, right? I think the white book is called Business Model Generation, and it's basically the MBA school book of design thinking and business model canvas.
And yesterday, one session was about artificial intelligence. I also have a lot of question marks on that in my brain, but I'm pretty sure it's like parts of a puzzle, and in the next few days, weeks, months, I don't know, this puzzle is getting together, and then I know why I've been sitting there from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. listening to, watching these models and all different kind of weird stuff.
Maybe one thing to add here, also for you, Martin, you will get an email, you will all get an email every day with the emails of the people we've met and the short thank you for taking time. And that means that you have a contact in Silicon Valley. Anders started pinging Chris already with questions. So I can't remind you enough on that. This is a truly invitation to keep that conversation alive. So if you have a tons of questions, don't keep them for you.
Thank you. Yeah, and yesterday we started with Sini, former Apple employee, but for me it's not so impressive if somebody's working for Apple. I think what he told us, where he was working and what he was doing so far, I feel like, damn, I'm sitting here in Austria and doing nothing. But he talked about privacy, and that was actually, besides all this DSGVO stuff, sorry for using a German I've never really thought about that, but privacy is really a big thing. And yeah, I think, yeah, that also makes me a lot of thinking, the privacy stuff we talked about yesterday.
The attention span hit me really hard. The attention span of a Gen Z is 7 seconds.
That's less than a goldfish, right?
Less than a goldfish. And there are science around this. So this is not like 7 seconds. There are science around this. And he shared some clips about that. And there are studies and reports on that. And it's insane. Basically, it says we're competing against sleep. We're not competing against TV or media or friends. No, they've lost already. We're competing against sleep. I thought that was intriguing. That was interesting. It's like also shaking, like, wow, 7 seconds. How about life decisions?
It's over.
Who does that? I mean, I don't know. You know, average means that there's, what is average on attention span? Where does the 7 seconds come from? Are they like minus? My attention span is minus 10 seconds to cut it down from 7 if someone has attention span of a minute. Adam, you wanted to say something?
Now I'm very aware of distraction-based media, because I hate a lot of stuff. So I switch off all my notifications and pings and everything like that. And I'm not super insanely connected, but I still sort of dislike it. But I'm very aware of how easy it is to be distracted, because there's times where I think, oh, I should really sit down and think about something. And as I do, it's very easy just to say, oh, but I'll listen to the radio instead, or I'll play some media instead, so I don't have to think so much or something. I don't know. I'm really aware of that. It's not so much, you know, when some people have this digital detox. For me, it's not about that. It's about, I don't know, maybe I'm addicted in a different way to digital media.
I mean, I'm sitting behind 4 screens, and it's kind of the evolution from the iPhone to the iPad to the MacBook and then to the external screen. And there are basically, not the iPhone, but all the others are connected. And there's literally, I have to turn off the apps for the Zoom chat because it would constantly blink. Something would be popping up, new email, new connection, someone trying to call me. It's insane. I like that very much. So I don't know if you if you caught that yesterday. Sini said that Apple advises to his employees that they shouldn't use the phone 2 hours before they go to bed or before they go to sleep, and 2 hours after they've gone up every day. And I think that's actually a nice routine, right? We have the phone on our shelf next to the bed because it's my alarm clock, but the phone doesn't have to be the alarm clock, right?
Speaking of alarm clock,
Talking of
I know you said yesterday that reading this, or day before yesterday, that reading these books is not, you don't recommend to read this life thing books, but what I can recommend is, maybe you know it anyway, the book called 5 a.m. Club of Robin Sharma. Don't know if you guys know that, this guy, but he's talking about things like that, and 5 a.m. Club is the kind of that if you start too early with phone and media, your brain gets distracted. So he has this concept, the 20-20-20 formula, that you do in sports, and sweat 20 minutes, then journal, meditate for 20 minutes, and then read a book or watch something with the real content, no bullshit, but with real content to elevate yourself. And if you do that, you start the day while everybody else is sleeping anyway, because nobody's really getting up at 5 a.m. But you get into the day in a really different way, and you've done something for yourself before you get into all the distraction.
I mean, I don't have to fix schedule, also because I'm the worst person with patterns. I'm good with patterns for like 3 enthusiastic days. I was like, yes, I'm gonna get up at 5. I'm gonna do the 45 minutes of workout, and then I'm 20 minutes of reading, and I make these notes and like numbers and all these kinds of things, and I feel like, wow, I have so much control over my life. I finally have made it being structured, and that worked for 3 days. And then I'm trying, everything in me starts breaking out of this, because I feel like this is taking away air to breathe. But that's me, and everyone has their own procedures. What works for me best is just get up when I wake up. I feel like whenever it is, I just get up when I wake up. And then there are a few things I'd like to get done during the day. And I want to keep this open when it's going to happen. And if I want to read a book and it's 10, I haven't read a book, then it might be a longer day, but I want to read. I realized I love reading, and I realized I didn't read a book for like a month. It's like, what? So I found myself into this state of being screen surrounded. Like Ralph Simon put it so well, we're the screenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. There's all around us is a display shining into our faces. First thing, last thing, and everything in between.
It's interesting though, Nikki, when you're talking about, when you get a routine and you can only really do it for 3 days, because I'm exactly the same as well. Like there's no such thing as a typical day, and I can work super hard one day and do absolutely nothing the very next day and whatever. But I used to do these presentations to businesses about creativity in work. And it was quite funny to watch the horror on people's faces when I would say, think about all of the tasks that you did today, the meetings that you went to, the emails that you wrote, the problems that you solved, the software that you used, and then think back to what you did on a typical day 2 weeks ago. How much of your day today was the same as it was 2 weeks ago? And everybody raises their hands. Yes, same sort of thing. And then what about 2 months ago? Yeah, same sort of thing. And then what about a year ago? What about 2 years ago? What about 5 years ago? And you see the look on people's faces when they realize, damn, I had this fight with my colleague on Monday, and it's the same fight I've been having for 5 years. And 5 years ago, I was trying to get my budgets approved, and I'm still trying to get budgets approved, and I'm still dealing with the same problems. And so they don't make the the progress, and because we like to believe that we've changed in the past 5 years or 2 years or whatever, but most people's work doesn't really change at all, which is terrifying.